explain to you, the piston slush box is the most important. You add water every day, and then you're going to drain it every night.
Okay.
The grate does come off, so when you clean it out in the daytime, what I do is I put it in reverse and watch one piston come back, wash it off, let the other piston come back, wash it off, and then you're always checking for bolts.
All right.
The reason why they're saying dump them every night, at least leave the water under the chrome rod. Because what happens is the packings in it, the rod goes through just like an excavator, they expand. Well, when it cools back down, it sucks water in.
Okay, all right.
The first time you pump, it returns it back to tank.
All right.
So that's where you'll get contamination. It's a closed loop system in the hydraulic tank. The only way you can get water is if you add it or the machine pulls it.
Okay.
That's the only way. Now there is some consideration. The tank, from it getting hot and cold, does get condensation, and it drains to a low point in the tank, and I'll go over that. You'll drain that once a week.
Okay, all right.
There's a low part, you know, you just a little bit, a capful, you know, like a water cap.
Okay, where's the cap?
If you look right under here, you see that quarter turn valve right there?
Okay, all right.
That's it.
All right.
You're gonna do that one. Okay. And that's just from the machine getting hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. So always leave. You know, what I usually do is I fill it up, you know, at the shop. I stroke it 2 times to make sure the machine's good.
All right.
And so when you get on the job, you don't just, oh shit, the machine won't start now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It won't start. Yeah.
Right, so I fill the water box up, stroke the machine twice, shut it back down, go to the job.
All right.
And then if I need any more water, I take it from the driver.
And put it on that.
Yeah,
right.
put it in there, yeah. And then every night you're going to dump this.
Okay.
Show him how to dump it though.
It's just a T-valve in here with a rubber
I
stopper.
saw that one. Just put it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that.
That's it, it just seats itself.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so in the morning, especially being in New York, it's going to be cold, so I kind of let it warm up a little bit. I just start it, hit the start button, and it fires right up.
All right.
Now, when you hear the fuel solenoid open up and close,
okay,
that means the machine can't start.
Okay.
If you don't hear it,
it won't start.
it won't start. The fuel solenoid won't, the ray won't open up. Right, correct. So that means you got a safety issue, and it usually tells you got an e-stop. You hear it click.
All right.
This is a manual panel, so with the switch all the way over, this works. In the middle, nothing works.
Nothing works. Okay.
If you had a remote system, over this way would operate the remote.
All right.
That's what that does, and then you hook it to the pigtail.
Okay.
Now for pump forward, it's just an intermittent switch. You got one, you got a light,
Okay.
off.
Okay.
For reverse, the light stays on, reverse,
Okay.
reverse off.
Okay.
To turn the reverse off, it goes back into a forward gear.
Okay. All right.
This is more for us as a mechanic. What that does is these proximity switches here interpret a signal from an analog to a digital signal, and that runs to a K234 relay. What that does is it tricks the sensor in thinking that it reached it all the way to the end of its travel. So every time you hit that switch, it's going to switch over.
Okay.
And I'll show you, I'll demonstrate it. Switch. 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 I can trick it. If you hold it, the machine will pressure out. It doesn't know what to do. So that's what the intermittent switch does. Now, I'm going to tell you there's a gray area that's going to get you in trouble. Okay. If you should get a plug, because of the surgeon on the diff cylinder, on the rod side, if it happens to be on the piston side when it plugs, you only get 3/4 of the pressure.
Okay.
So if you hit the switch over, it'll switch over and give you double the pressure. The downfall is, if you have a good enough plug, it'll open the pot.
Oh.
That means it'll split a pipe right in half.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. You can do it to get yourself, I mean, the experienced operator, you know, can hit it a few times and it'll spit it out. Not always.
No,
if it's a big enough rock and it turns sideways in a pipe,
it's going to blow up.
it's going to blow it up, right? Yeah. So that doubles the pressure.
Okay. All right, that's double the pressure.
I mean, I've seen guys just do it all.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Keep going, yeah,
No.
boom, you know.
Yeah.
3 guys come flying out of the building, you know. So.
Okay.
You have an agitator circuit and a water pump circuit. So you sir?
Okay, that's a forward and reverse. Okay.
A forward reverse, right?
Forward's up, reverse is down.
Yeah, because of the square bowl design on the Poots, a lot of operators 10 yards forward, 10 yards reverse, and that kind of cleans it.
Okay.
You know, the bowl. If you leave it always in reverse, you're going to know there's a little bit of buildup. When you get 70, 80, 90 yards, if you don't have a weight for trucks, you won't have a buildup because it's always being sucked down.
Yeah.
It's usually when you wait 10 minutes, next truck 15 minutes, next truck 20 minutes.
Okay.
That's when you get some buildup. So that's what the forward reverse you keep.
What's the function on the other one?
The other one is just a one-way forward reversing valve. It's going to be for your water pump only.
Okay, water pump on. Okay.
Yeah, and it runs right off your water tank here.
All right.
You got the remote, the indicator here. You got temperature and the viscosity of the hydraulic fluid, how high it is.
Okay. What's the maximum pressure this machine can operate at?
300 bar.
300 bar?
Yeah.
More than that, it's not. It's gonna be rough.
Right.
Okay.
You're in the 4,500 psi range, and it's dangerous, right? If you're pumping, I'd say with 300 foot, are you going through 2-inch, 3-inch, 4-inch?
That's fine.
4-inch. So you should be around the 100 bar range at 200 feet.
Okay, 100 bar.
If you're pumping at 200 bar, you need to put some water in it. You know what I mean? You only got 100 bar variance. When it gets to 300 bar, it's just going to stop pumping because the pump goes into the relief mode.
Okay.
Hey, where do you have the seats for the office so the ladies can sit in there? Do you have the seats somewhere?
They're on. Kevin got them. I think he's using them.
Oh, que Kevin los está usando. Ay. Que los pidió prestados y los está usando.
So you got your temperature and how much volume you have in oil. It gives you a high and a low mark. I stay around the H and the I. Because as the machine gets hot, it expands.
Exactly, correct.
Right.
Yeah, the oil is always
Right. So if you fill it up to the high mark and it gets hot, it's going to come out of the breather hole. You know?
okay.
It just gives you some room to expand.
All right.
I stay around the I.
Yeah. More safety, I. Yeah. I see.
You got a dual filter cartridge. This is on the cleaner itself. About every, and we'll go over this, about every 250 hours, machine hours right now. So you're going to change these. And also on the engine. And this is just a restriction gauge. You know, if you had 100 hours and the machine's already, you know, at 60 or 70 bar, you need to get it off of there.
Okay.
Something pass through it or something damage come out of it.
All right.
You have your engine for diesel.
Diesel filter.
The separator, correct.
Yeah.
And the separator's at the bottom. And then you got your manual plunger if you run out of fuel.
That's the prime, yeah.
You got oil and fuel.
Oil fuel.
And then the air is on the other side, and it's just in a canister, a cartridge style. And you're going to do this, the whole machine, at about 250, 300 hours.
Hours, okay. That's the maintenance, regular maintenance.
Maintenance, correct.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt to have a set of proximity wires in one plug here.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt. The system's designed with an override. If you look at here, this one is blank.
Okay.
If one should go bad, you can take it off and put it on.
You can the other one. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
But it doesn't hurt to have an extra one in the truck.
Just in case.
Just in case, right? Because if you're not, you're hitting the switch over every stroke.
Okay.
By the time you have a blister on your finger, you know, after about 100 yards.
All right.
So you got engine oil, checking the dipstick here.
Yes.
Fill, alternator. You got the main drive belt. There's actually 3 belts in there.
All right.
They're new and about, it goes on yardage. I mean, you know, once a year, once every other year.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt to keep a set up in the truck. If the belt breaks, the machine shuts off. It cuts your fuel pump off.
Any belts? Any belt? Or
any belt.
Any belt.
Any belt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got one for cooling and one for
the alternator.
For the alternator and the fuel pump.
And the fuel pump. Okay. So.
Right. Any belt breaks, it shuts the machine off. You got your water tank up front. Just you know, just normal agricultural tank. It's 225 gallons.
Okay.
I usually keep, if you're going to keep water in for long periods of time, especially in New York, you probably want to put hot water in it first before you go to the job.
Yeah, because it's cold weather, so it's
right.
freeze off.
I usually put, you know, from a pool, chlorine tablet, and throw one in there, and it lasts about a month, and it'll keep the green out of it.
Oh, okay.
It's real easy, and at Walmart they're 2 bucks, $3
Yeah.
for a tablet, and it lasts you about a month.
Okay.
So we work on down from the machine.
And does the throttle?
Yes. We got the machine throttle. Just runs the machine up and down.
Okay.
And then you got the, just like it says here, you got the volume control.
You can put
It's like a water faucet. You screw it in, slows the machine down. If you screw it out, speeds it up.
Okay.
Strokes per minute.
Okay.
Boom, boom. A lot of the old guys that have been around since the 70s, the machine cooler and the cleaner were run off of a pump. So you could run the machine at half throttle, but speed the stroke limiter up. So you have to hear all day.
Yeah, okay.
The newer machines, you can't do that because the cleaner and the oil cooler are run off the engine. So if you lower the RPMs, it lowers the cooling capacity.
Okay.
You will overheat.
Okay, yes.
So, so you have to run the machine always at 2,300 RPMs.
Okay,
always.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, because the fan works with the radiator to cool the system.
Correct, and you can see the gear pump that runs all the way through to the cleaner. It runs all the way through. So if you lessen the speed, it lessens the cooler.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. It used to be it run off the main drive pump, so it was constantly giving you 30 liters a minute, no matter if you had it at 1,500 RPMs or 1,200. It always gave you 30 liters a minute. They don't. It doesn't exist. Those pumps don't apply anymore. They weren't real efficient, so they did away with them. You got your accumulator pressure. This is stored energy. Accumulator is for the switchover.
Okay.
Back and forth.
Okay.
It'll stay at around 150, 125. That's where. And I'll show you what that. It's hard to retain a lot because I'm giving you a lot of information. Yeah. There's a test on this accumulator bladder. I'm going to open it up and I'll show you where it's stored. Like everything else, even on a loader, you always verify 0 before you work anything because the machine stores energy. That means it can hold energy. So you stick your arm in there with it just sitting here, you can switch over.
Okay.
In the rock valve, I mean, it'll split a 4x4 wide open, right in half. I mean, like nothing. So you always verify 0. Here's the accumulator bottle here.
Okay.
See that?
Yeah.
And what that does is, the pump is capable of giving the machine 200 or 125 bar, which is about 3,000 psi. The pump is. It's not real efficient and it's not good for it. So what they've done is, the machine now gives it 100 bar, and this bladder in here, which has got inert gas, nitrogen, has another 100 bar on it, and together they make the 200.
Okay. Because
they're pressing against each other like a tire.
Yeah.
So what happens is that bladder always stays full, so it's stored energy. So even a little bit of oil in there, it can release and boom, switch over. So you always verify 0. Yeah.
Zero pressure.
Yeah, you'll see the machine go down after I turn it off. And you'll see the machine fall. See it drop off?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so there's, the reason why I showed you this, I wanted you to see. Did you notice where it was falling off and then snapped off? Okay. It just fell by itself. That's stored pressure. That's how much gas is in that bottle. I'll show you again. You'll watch it drop and then it'll finally fall off. Where it falls off is how much gas is in that bottle. And you need to check this once a month.
Yeah, it should be, let's see.
So you're around about 75, 80.
Yeah, 75 bar, yeah.
When you get around
1,500
when you get around 60, you'll fill it back up to 100. And it's like a car tire. You use it every day, no problem. Once a month, once every other month, the tire goes flat, 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 and you need to put gas back in it.
Okay.
And you're going to check this once a month.
Okay. What type of gas is that in?
Nitrogen. It's an inert gas. Yeah, no oxygen, no shop air, nitrogen.
Okay.
You can use carbon dioxide, but nitrogen's cheaper.
Okay.
50 bucks for a tank. and the
Okay.
tank will last you a couple of years.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
All right.
So,
All right. So let's go over the maintenance.
okay, so the maintenance of it would be 250 hours on the machine,
250 hours machine.
filters, 250 on the pump
And the
side.
pumps and-
Once a week now, you're going to check for water in your oil. You're going to
Okay.
dump that on the tank.
Okay, in the tank, yeah.
You're going to check once a week for your main pressure, and I haven't gone over that with you, but I'll show you how to check main
Okay.
pressure. Once a month, you're going to check your accumulator bladder,
Okay.
and you're going to tension your jam nut on your cutting ring
All right.
once a month.
So let's go over the accumulator and the main pressure and the jam nut, please.
Okay, so we went over the accumulator. We showed you how it dropped off and it snapped off.
Yes, correct, yeah.
So when you get down to around 50, 60 bar, I go ahead and start thinking about getting a tank around there. You get around 40, you need to go ahead and fill it up.
Okay, all right.
Like I said, the machine's capable of filling it up, but it's not good for the pump. You start getting at 30, 20, it'll burn the pump up.
Yeah.
So if you keep at 100, the machine only runs half the time.
Yeah, it should be work fine, yeah.
Okay, so and then once a week, you're draining the hydraulic fluid.
Once a week?
Once a week, right? No,
Just water.
just a little cap.
Oh, just a little cap to see how the fluid is. So.
Correct.
All right.
That's it. Once a month, you're going to pressure it out. Because if you don't have main pressure on the pump, you won't have main pressure out there in the field.
Correct, yeah, that's right.
So, and like I said, you're going to turn the pump on and then you're going to hold the pressure out valve and it'll get pressure up. And you'll watch it climb about 300.
That means the pump is working fine.
Pump's working great at
All right.
300.
Okay.
270, I wouldn't let it go past 270. You know, pumps, I don't know, you understand how a hydraulic pump works? Or
Yes, I
kind of
understand, yeah.
Okay, so you got a load sensing lining with a swash plate, and it tells the pump, come on 20%, come on 30%, come on
Okay.
40%. Well, that swash plate over years gets stuck.
Okay.
And not only you not always get 100% out of the pump, which will accumulate, you won't get, 300 bar, you'll start dripping, the
Okay.
270, 260. I would do something about it. You're going to have to readjust the pump.
Okay, all right. We have to
And a lot of
adjust
times
the
you just
pump,
take
yeah.
Q min off and you just touch it and it'll open up the swash plate.
Oh, okay.
A lot of times.
All right.
Because it just, because there's hydraulic gets a soot, like a black soot.
Okay.
And, and it's just from all the years of it going, what I
Kind of
mean?
using
The
the-
carbon is left behind.
Yeah.
Especially on old oil. If you don't clean the oil once a year,
It's gonna be.
yeah,
give you a problem.
the oil starts getting dark. Well, the oil's still good, but it's laying that soot on
Yeah.
every valve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, correct.
Pretty soon that soot gets picked up and in a small orifice and gets stuck.
Okay. All right.
So that's what the swash plate does. And the settings get knocked off. I see machines go 10 years with good oil, no problem.
Yeah, we always. I mean, if you
Bad
have
oil,
the-
3
the-
years.
Yeah, the regular maintenance and the pump should be working fine. All right.
Yeah. And I usually, about every other oil change, you'll have to get with Edward with this. We do sell, filter carts and filtering the oil, once a year. And it goes about 600 hours. And we use a AW46, which is 4,600 hours on the
Okay.
oil, the life of
Okay.
the oil. But
Okay.
it needs to be cleaned.
Okay.
About every 600 hours, every 700 hours, you need to I suck all the oil out into a drum and then suck it all and filter it right back in. So it's
Okay.
filtered twice going back in.
Okay.
And that holds you for a year.
Okay. All right.
It's something to think about. Or, you go to an oil company and they'll do it for you. I mean, it's probably, 40,
Yeah.
$50, but the machine, I don't know how much the machine is offhand.
Like
but,
1,300.
and if you have one machine, maybe you should do it somewhere else. If you got 2 machines, I definitely would get one.
Yeah.
Because you're filtering, twice a year, and that saves you money.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'll show you later. But bulk oil by nature comes dirty. Because they take it out of a tanker. The guy kicks the lid open, look how much he's got, close the lid. Well, that dirt goes down in the oil.
No.
It's dirty oil.
Yeah.
All bulk oil is dirty.
Yeah.
So even when I get new oil, I filter it in always.
Okay.
Because it's like your blood. I mean, you got good blood, you last a long
Yeah,
time.
you have to filter it. Yeah, correct.
Let's go through the greasing process. which is, I think, the main thing on a daily operation, no?
Yeah. There's only 2 manual fittings, and you'll do these about once a month.
Once a month?
Yeah, not real high wear, because it's only moving a ½ inch every stroke. You know what I mean? On this end, the other end is. Now all these lines run into a central greasing port, and you'll see them back here. Here.
Okay.
And in return, that line leads to a central greaser. Here. And this goes, it only comes on when it's in pump 4. Okay. There's a timer inside here. You can make it come on manually if you want. There's an override. You can put a grease gun there and grease it manually, and it'll grease manually into the machine.
All right.
So right now it's set for 4 minutes for every hour.
Okay.
Greasing.
Oh, it's greasing for 4 minutes every hour.
Every hour. The pump is on.
When the pump is on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, most machines don't have an automatic greaser.
Yeah,
This machine,
we have to put
exactly. This machine does it for you. What you need to make sure is that you have grease on that thing.
Okay.
Yeah, there's grease in the pot, correct.
How do you open that pot, Harold?
Now you can fill it just with a grease gun here, and it'll fill the pot. If you unscrew it, sometimes you get dirt in there, and then the dirt goes in the manifold and plugs it up. So it's better just to grease it right from the
Okay, that one they just unscrew and just in case we need any future, I'm gonna take it apart.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can override the system by greasing here, and it'll grease the system automatically.
Okay.
If you grease it, it'll start. And what that does, that manifold has a inverter valve in it, and every time you grease it, pushes the slider over, grease another port. It comes back, and it just do. Yeah. It's called a progressive system. There's a downfall to it.
Okay.
Unfortunately, on all systems, there's.
I understand.
If you have 14 ports, 7 ports and 7 ports, it must get one signal to go to the next port. If that port is plugged, the whole system goes down because it doesn't know what to do next. It can't move over.
Okay.
So if you have one bearing that goes bad, you got to keep your eye on the machine because it'll take the rest of the bearings out because it won't grease.
Okay.
So you always got to make sure that you do have grease on the machine.
Okay.
And you can
like that one, you can see grease coming out.
You can see grease coming out.
And also from the inside hopper, you can also see grease when you pump
Yes.
And the other
exactly.
Exactly.
Right.
If you're washing up and you don't see the grease, so you need to grease it manually. If you see and you're greasing it manually and the grease is coming out, great.
Okay, all right.
It's good.
I mean, that means probably the container has no grease in it.
Correct. Correct. If you put it on the system and it won't go anymore, that means the system's plugged up somewhere. You need to find out, start taking off lines off and find out which one's plugged up and replace it. Or leave it off because you know that system's dead and it'll still keep grease in the rest of the system.
Okay.
Because it'll just squirt out the end.
All right. All right.
Unfortunately, there's a downfall to the system, you know.
So now, bro, if we just in case this don't work, we can grease it up from those fitting over there now.
This fitting here.
Just from that one.
That one.
Right.
Yeah, the system had gone down. Yeah.
Okay.
They're pretty inexpensive. Lincoln makes I mean, I think they're $600 or $700. I mean, they're pretty inexpensive. And what that does is the reason why the owners like it is it takes the guesswork out of an operator. Did you grease the machine? Oh yeah, boss man, I greased it. 2 weeks later, you're $7,000 in the asset.
Yeah.
So that way the owner knows for sure my machine's getting greased. I know that thing is wide open. And then that way the owner just walks by and see if that's if it's full.
Okay.
If it ain't full, in America they fire you for that. It's a fireable offense. Yeah. Because every time a mechanic gets in the ass end, it's $5,000 all day.
Right.
From the time and the maintenance, the machine's down for a day or two. That's lost revenue. It's $5,000 realistically.
So in America they fire you for that? In Colombia they let you work until you die and pay off the machine.
No, grease it. Okay, so the engine is air cooled, but it's got a radiator in front of it, and then you just got a radiator stack valve here that measures the fluid, and you see the fluid on top.
Yeah, the fluid on top.
Yeah, just like a car.
Yeah.
So you just check it when you do your pre-maintenance. It's got a sensor on it. If it gets low, the machine will shut off and it'll let you know.
Okay.
The water's low. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You add more water. We use pink coolant.
Pink coolant. Okay. That's called. That's my name.
Correct. Correct. It's a newer style fluid. Now, if you want to change it, you have to drain it all out and put green in or whatever you want. But I mean, you can switch it if you want. We just have to use pink because
we like pink.
Yeah, I mean, the newer trucks come with that, so that we stick to the manufacturer what the manufacturer needs, or is in play right now. So if there's a design upgrade, even though it's an old machine, we put the designer upgrade on there. And it makes it a new style bend, you know.
Okay.
How do you turn these fancy lights on?
So you got a switch in the cab, and it's lit. If you look through here, light comes on in the cab, and you got some work lights. And they're LEDs, 500 watts each. They're bright. You want to see it at night.
Yeah.
It'll blind you.
We can see them right now in the day.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Well, you got to see them bums in New York looking, rushing for you. Ah! So,
Alrighty.
you got your fuel tank on this side. This is for pump, and on the other side is for truck. Yeah. And both of them are diesel.
Diesel. Everything is diesel. Mm-hmm.
Put a sign on here.
Diesel. No, I'll put it up in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put the sticker on it.
Okay, so once a month you're going to tension the back nut, and what that does is the gap between here that you see between the cutting ring
Okay.
and the wear plate, and this is the S tube. That gap that you see, you can make up the variance, and what that does is that pushes the S tube into the cutting ring, which sandwiches it between the
Okay.
wear plate.
Okay.
So how you do this once a month. When I say one flat, this is a flat.
Okay.
You
That's
tighten
the
it
flat
one and then go
one.
to the next flat.
And that's flat. All right.
You're going to go one flat every month. Now it
Okay.
goes on yardage. If you're pumping 4 days a week, once a month.
You gotta do once a month.
If you're doing 2 times a week, 3 times, 1 time, I maybe go 2 months.
Okay.
Usually, if you can stick a quarter in there, perfect. If you can stick 2 quarters in there,
That's not
it
good.
needs to
Yeah,
be
it's
adjusted.
gotta be too low.
Right. The older design, the cutting ring used to go over the mouth, and they were acceptable. If you let them get too loose, it would throw the cutting ring out. You could pump nothing.
Yeah,
It'd leave a
yeah,
gap
that's
that big.
right. That's right. Yeah,
Now the newer ones, you can let them go pretty loose. The only thing is you'll get a funny wear between your wear plate and your cutting ring. It'll wear like a wedge,
yeah, I understand. Yeah.
and you won't be able to really pump right. It won't really pump fine, like pea rock, grout, because you'll have a gap in there. Big rock, it'll pump good. The rock can't go through the the slit, but
All right.
even water, you won't be able to push your sponge out because all the water's going to come up through the hopper. And we've seen that, you know,
Many times.
not adjusting right. And it's all because you didn't adjust it.
Okay.
And this is once a month, so you go one flat. So you take these 2 lines off.
Yeah.
Take
Also,
this plate comes off, and
and
you
you
just
just gotta sign it once.
put it all back together. I mean, it
Okay.
takes you 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Usually, an operator would do this, not a mechanic.
Okay.
They do this once a month, and we have a checklist. You know, did you check the oil? Did you check the water? Did you tighten
Okay.
tension nut?
Okay.
And the operator usually does it because it's pretty easy. It's so easy, you know. Really, mechanic doesn't waste his time to come out here. And
Exactly. Yeah.
there is, for safety reasons, if the grate comes open, the agitator will stop and it won't pump.
Okay.
If the grate's open. So just keep in mind, the operator calls you, hey, we're pumping good, and all of a sudden it stops. You check the hopper grate? Yeah. What happens is, in a tight, you know what a slump is? 6-inch slump, 7-inch slump, you know what slumps are. In a tight slump, you put it in reverse and start sucking it back, it'll lift the grate up, it'll turn you off.
Okay.
You're gonna shove the grate back down. So
All right.
kind of watch for that. They were acceptable to this problem.
All right.
Swing has actually a lock that goes in there, and the brake can't come back up. But I mean, everybody has an idea. It's a Ford and a Chevy. You know,
Okay.
you like Ford, you like Chevy. You know?
Yeah. It's yeah.
You ask 10 operators, and half of them will tell you Poots is the pump, and half of them will tell you Swing is. I mean, it's just, you know, a lot of guys got trained on a Poots, and that's all they'll run. They won't run nothing else. You can't stick them on nothing else. They won't run a Swing. You know, and a lot of Swing guys that run both. Poots has got some good ideas, and Swing's got good ideas. You know, if you can put the 2 pumps together, you'd have a great pump. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're never gonna do that though.
Yeah, they're never gonna happen. Yeah. Right.
But S tubes are prone to pump a little bit harder and a little bit further because in a rock valve, there's a kidney plate. It looks like a kidney bean, and when that rock switch over, it hits a dead spot and then rolls into the transition. S tube is just one motion, so they're more acceptable to have a harsher mix and pump it farther, whereas a Swing had a little bit of trouble. You know what I mean? Poots is you can, with a little bit of water in the hopper, you can run forever. No problem.
Okay.
On a Swing, you can't. There's a kidney seal. We'll show them later. And it'll actually tear the. You guys have any Swings or?
No.
Okay. Well, it'll tear the rubber diaphragm out of it if you try
Okay.
to stroke it when it's, you know, doesn't have water in it. So a swing, you know, like I said, there's some good ideas, but you know, they got some downfalls too. You got your trap door here. This dumps all your water.
Yeah, that's
And at the end of the day, you know, you bust that loose and you just clean the door off, because there's a big rubber O-ring that goes in there. And if you leave concrete on the door and you slam it shut, it'll tear the rubber O-ring out.
Yeah, we have to clean it now.
You can flip them. So once they start getting loose and they start dripping water, you can flip the O-ring and use it another time.
Okay.
So
All right.
the rubber, I think, costs maybe $30 for the thing, and you know, it probably lasts you. If you keep the trapdoor lid clean, oh man, I've seen it last 5 years.
It's not gonna be a problem.
They last a long time. I see a lot of guys put brakes on them and then close them. They last even longer than that.
Yeah.
They last a long time. You'll hit it with a hammer to seat it.
Yeah.
And that'll, because what'll happen is if you don't, you'll be pumping, it'll open up and boom, dump it all the ground. It always happens when you're in the road. Oh,
Yeah.
shit, you know, then you're out there shoveling it back in the machine, you know, so just make sure you pop it a few times, you know. It will open up on you. And they're pretty easy if you lose it. Usually, you know, you can get the machine, what I usually do is I get it on a 4x4, lift the machine up and put a center block on there and roll off of it, and it'll sit on the center block with a piece of plywood.
Okay.
And it'll be your trap door. I mean, you can get by.
All right.
On a trailer pump, if you had outriggers, you know, on a trailer pump, you just lift it up and then lower it back down. I mean, you know, you can't get by with the tub. And now up in here, you got your forward reversing valve. The bank on the right of you handles forward and reverse.
Okay.
You see them up there? You got the. I'll show you. I'm sorry.
The one that has the noise. Those two.
Yes.
Okay.
See these two wires. Now, there's a manual override. If you see that E-dent in the center,
Okay.
if you take a 16 penny nail or a screwdriver and push it
And
in,
push it in?
it'll start going forward. The machine will start pumping.
Okay.
If you push it in the other direction on the
From
back
the
side,
back.
it will
Okay.
reverse.
It's gonna be reverse. Okay.
Right. This tank right here handles switch over.
Okay.
So if you hit that, it'll switch over. You hit the other side, it switches over.
Okay.
So if all AV electronics went down, say the alternator went bad and you don't have another car to hook up to it, you could manually
You can manage everything. Everything.
you
okay.
push it in,
Push it
you would
in,
pressure
back
up, yeah, and you just keep
Okay.
switching it back and forth. Boom, boom, boom,
Okay.
boom. You could run it manually
Okay.
if you lost all electronics. Now they make a full reversing kit, and it's a little toggle switch. They're pretty expensive. They're like $400, but. And you know, I've seen them lay around for 10 years in a truck, never get used. I mean, the hydraulic cleaner. If you got more than one pump, I would probably get one, just to have in your truck. The guy calls you, hey man, nothing works. You run out there, hook it up, boom, he's pumping all day like this, you know. But he's
Okay.
pumping. If you just got one pump, chances are you can do it manually and do 10 yards.
Okay.
Get the truck out of there, go back to the shop, figure out what's going on.
That's all.
I mean, you know, excuse me. A valve here for you,
Okay.
and what'll happen is all you got to do is put shop air in the system and take that quarter turn and open it up and blow all the water out of the line.
How do you put? What do you mean put air?
Put air just right in the cap. Just put air right in there and it'll blow all the lines out.
Okay.
Boom. Now, if you go into the job and you didn't use, I left a weep hole, a drain plug for you here. See here? And this will drain your water off.
Oh, okay.
And that'll drain your water out. Because if there's no water in it, even if it freezes, it won't freeze any water. If you got water in it, it's going to freeze.
It's gonna freeze, yeah.
Right. So I left 2 weep holes for you, and that comes. This is from the factory. They leave 1, but 2 I found over the years works much better.
Yeah.
You break it there, and it'll clean everything out then.
Okay.
A lot of times the system's so big that when you put air in it, it doesn't clean, and you get to the job and you got to play around with it for 10 minutes to get the water working. That's a pain in the ass. So I left you 2, and it works perfect every time.
Okay.
And usually up north is they keep a water heater, just for filling up.
Okay.
So you'll put in as hot as it'll go, you know, 160 degrees.
Sometimes. Every morning, the company supply a pump. Every morning they fill water in the tank.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, you can, but you got to put antifreeze in it. and it's not real good for the environment. If you use hot water, it'll last you 8 hours, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem, 8 hours. Just, 80-gallon water tank, hot water. Fill it up before you leave, it'll last 8 hours. Because it's got to bring the core temperature down to, 32 degrees. I mean, it takes a long time for hot water. You can use antifreeze, but man, it's harmful to the environment, it really is.
Yeah.
And plus you're working with it, it gets in your mouth, I mean, it can hurt you, so. I don't suggest it. I know a lot of companies still use that antifreeze. And I don't know if you ever wash out the antifreeze, it leaves like a...
No.
By the time you make it back to the yard, it's all black.
No, we cannot use anything like that over there.
Yeah, just hot water, that's all I
just
ever use.
hot water.
How to empty the tank? You are not only this one?
Yeah. To empty the water tank, we gotta open the valve, right?
Oh, the bottom, and then you just stick it in there and boom, blow it right out. Or you can just turn the pump on and let it pump out until it's don't pump anymore. Turn it off. Open the system. Put air. Boom, blow it out. It's real easy. Takes you five minutes. Okay. Because usually by the time you get back to the yard, because you washed up, most of it's gone anyways. So you can drain it while you're going back to the yard. By the time you get back to the yard, it's all gone.
Yeah.
It's just draining little by little. If you're a half hour away from the shop, it'll be gone by the time you get back. Blow it out with air. If you're not leaving it inside, a lot of companies leave them inside, and heat up the shop, and that way you don't have to worry about it then. But if you leave it out, you don't have to leave it inside. It's just it's designed that you don't have to. If the temperature drops below 40, I like to get to the job and turn the machine on.
Before that,
and the machine heats up for about an hour, and that's because it runs real efficient at about 60 degrees, 70 degrees. It runs good. 40, it'll pump real slow. And it's got to warm up.
Yeah, they're gonna warm up first.
And all I do is turn the agitator on. Just let it sit there and idle.
Okay.
For about an hour. Whew, it'll be to 80 degrees in no time. No problem.
It's the same like a diesel truck, It's the same thing like a diesel truck,
Exactly. Yeah. So I get to the job. I make sure my water box is full. I start the machine up. I fill my bucket up with slick pack. Let that sit there, and then start running my system out. Hook it all up. When the truck gets there, I put water in the hopper, put the slick pack in, and boom, we're ready. Let's go, boys. And do you have any more questions?
Right now.
Okay.
So they don't bust out any lines, they don't break any hoses, they don't...
Well, okay. I mean, just remember this. I've seen a lot of guys over the years throw up before they got to the job because they were worried about getting a plug. Always think you're going to plug, and if you think that, then I say 70% of the time you won't plug. Okay. So always think today I'm plugging. Today I'm plugging, and plugs are real easy. If you get onto them pretty close and pretty soon, and you don't pressure the machine out too long and sit there for 30 seconds, it plugs the whole line up. Okay. If you see the machine spike and hold there for about 2 seconds, turn the machine off, you just feel on the hose, and where it gets soft.
Okay,
I go to the next clamp, take it, put it in reverse, take all the pressure off, shake the plug out. Okay. You'll see it, sand and rock fall out. Hook it back together.
Okay.
Just that easy.
All right.
It takes you maybe on every plug maybe 7 minutes. After you get into a little groove with the machine, it should take you about 7 minutes. Sometimes, I'm not saying that the mixer driver or the aggregate yard didn't throw in 2 pounds or 100 pounds more sand than they should have. The mix design's messed up, and the machine you'll know it when the machine will tell you. Hey, man, there's something wrong. I mean, it'll still pump it, but it'll struggle every stroke, So going on that note, your chances are plugging a lot more because there's a lot more sand running through the line, So it does happen. I mean, it's just a slam shut gate on the scales, and they weigh up, and it opens up and it drops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the guy puts in the sand bin, and puts it in the rock, and then takes the rock and puts it in the sand and contaminates the two, well, then you got double rock instead of sand. You know what I mean? So it does happen. You're out at night running a loader, whatever. But
all right, so let's prime this thing.
So what I do is when like I was discussing you, I fill the water box at the yard. Okay. I come to the job, I fill up again. I got my water hose out, or in your case, you got your water tank. I fill it up. I take my slick pack in a bucket, put it in there, fill it up. Okay. And that allows it about a half hour or an hour if you get we get an hour for setup, but it allows about a half hour to an hour for the gel to gel up. I put it on the machine. I start dragging all my hose off, and I start from the ass end. I work all the way to the furthest point. clamp it all up, sit around, wait till the mixer comes. I usually dump about 10 gallons in the hopper, and then take my slick pack, slug it right in there. I pump it about 3 times down. Boom, boom, boom. I stop. I tell the driver, you got a 7-inch lump? Yeah, man. We watch it come down, and I let him fill up about halfway, because if you start off, as soon as he starts pumping, it'll kick it out in his truck, you know what I mean? I let him fill about halfway up so it doesn't kick any out. As soon as he fills that about halfway on, I turn the machine on, and I usually run it till you get about a stroke a second.
Okay.
Boom. Boom.
Okay.
About a stroke a second is about your optimal range. Any too fast, the concrete will jump over the slick pack and plug. Too slow, it pushes the water, and the water only half moons the hose as it's going through, you understand? So this top part is dry because you're going too slow, and the water's just riding in there like a flume.
Okay.
So you want to go fast enough that it's coating the hose as it's going through.
Okay.
Not too slow, not too fast. About 1 click a second.
All right. That's
Click,
good.
boom, boom. And that's how I usually prime. And you just adjust this with your volume control. When I prime, when I tell the driver, when I stroke it 3 times down, I turn it wide open, boom, 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 and then I start turning it down until I get a click a second. Turn the machine off, come on, let's go.
Okay.
And that's it.
Got it, yeah,
Super simple. The